It's about 5:30 in the morning and there's a typhoon right now in Tokyo, and there's just people out for a bike ride and like just like, I guess they're walking to work. It's not, doesn't seem like the best time to be out. Last night we had a typhoon. It was the 15th typhoon of the season, and it is one of the strongest typhoons I've seen, having lived in Japan since 2011. And it was just the wind speeds and stuff that came through here were crazy. And I guess the typhoon sort of made landfall fairly close to the Tokyo area, so it kind of came in with a full force. And it was so loud and so windy that our building, which is 30 floors high and like made of concrete and super strong, was like shaking like all night. So I didn't sleep but maybe a couple of hours on and off, but the sound was just like insane. And Katie actually ended up staying the night at a friend's house because she was having like a dinner party with them, and then like she couldn't get home. So so that happened because the train system just completely shuts down, like everything was closed down, and it just, you know, for safety reasons, and also because things fall in train wires and stuff. So it is now, oh, I don't know what time it is. Maybe it's before 8 a.m. I've been out of the bed since like 5. And I've decided to come outside because the rain has finally stopped. It's still a little windy, but it's not like dangerously windy the way it was. And I want to see what is going on out in the world. So the first thing that I noticed is down over here is these concrete like signs, like these bottoms. The bottom of the sign is made of concrete, and they've just blown over. So like you've got, you know, things like this thing. I mean, it kind of makes sense, like a sail, but that's still like a pretty hefty weight on the bottom that should be holding it in place. And then the other thing that I noticed was there is this giant sign that they put up for a matsuri, for a festival at a temple that is nearby here, and the entire sign has blown over, which kind of makes sense because it's a temporary structure and it's just a big sail. But that thing is, you know, yesterday it was standing. So I'm gonna go for a walk around the neighborhood and just see if I see anything else that's, I don't know. I don't know if it's interesting or not, but it's just like, this is what it's like after a typhoon. I was supposed to go into Saitama today. I was supposed to leave like about 45 minutes ago, but trains aren't running, so I'm just not going into Saitama. I was just gonna see some friends, so whatever, no big deal. It's kind of just like a whole lot of bushes that aren't where they're supposed to be anymore. Just blown around like in front of shops and things like that. Ground is just sort of dirty from all the wind and dust and dirt and stuff flying around, like little things like that. Stuff you'd expect if you ever went through like a hurricane or a typhoon or something before. Nothing extreme yet. To be honest, I don't expect to find anything super extreme. Things are built fairly sturdy here. This isn't so much damage thing, but I'm standing in front of, or underneath now, Kaminarimon, and the lantern has been pulled up for safety purposes, because if it's dropped down, the wind can catch it, obviously. So when they're gonna have a huge storm like this, they've got these ropes that they have to crank it up, and it's kind of a rare sight. You don't see it like that very often. I've only seen like this a couple times, and I come over here quite a lot. There really isn't too much to speak of, like as far as like effects of what is going on in this neighborhood. It's mostly just leaves on the ground, and one of the things I just absolutely love about Japan is that immediately, as soon as something like this is finished, the local population is out and they're sweeping and they're cleaning everything up and they're getting everything back to operational order, and it's just, it's so wonderful to just see the community just come out and be like, oh, we got to clean this stuff up. Is this what you got to do? And I think that, like, I mean, part of that is just ingrained in Japanese culture, but some of it is like, if you live in Japan and you're used to being battered by all these insane natural disasters and stuff, your culture just sort of like develops this like way to just recuperate and get back to going, get back to going to, like, you know, like normal circumstances and stuff. So like, it's part of that. And then the other thing is I just think is amazing is that you can have this thing come through, and I mean, there were sustained wind gusts of 123 miles an hour, I think I read. So, I mean, it was pretty substantial, but there really isn't that much damage just because Japanese structures and stuff are built in such a way that they can withstand earthquakes and typhoons and all these different things that are going on. So, I mean, it's really not that devastating or whatever when something like this happens. But this tree is in bad shape. Hold on, I'll spin around, and that is not where that tree is supposed to be. That's a shame. I heard somebody say recently that a tree is the most beautiful thing they'd ever seen. It's a famous person quote that I don't know the famous person of. So it's a bit sad to see that, because I don't think that tree is going to make it. There's this little seating area, and all of the greenery that is on top of one corner has kind of been blown off. It's usually fairly covered. You can actually come under here when it's raining, not too heavy, but raining a little bit, and you stay dry. So it's fairly thick and heavy, but not a match for the wind over there in that one corner. But again, I'm not seeing much of anything aside from a couple of signs get knocked over, and anything green seems to be disturbed. Everything else is fine. But yeah, there's been a couple more trees that have been falling over, and there's just leaves everywhere. Thankfully, doesn't look like it's going to be any like substantial damage or anything. And I saw some security guards like that work in this area, and they're just walking around taking notes of things that need to be fixed, and like just like, you know, getting back to business, y'all. I think that might be the most tragic area of the neighborhood. We got us a situation, y'all. Hey, buddy. You friendly? You are. Great news. I bet you had an exciting night. It's about 9 now, and a lot of the trains have resumed service in the city, but not all of them have. This train line is completely shut down, and it's pretty weird at 9 a.m. on a weekday to see an empty train station in Tokyo. Like, one lady is walking in, I don't know where she's going. That train ain't moving. That's not ideal. And by 11 o'clock, you couldn't tell that a storm even happened last night. Everything's back up to normal and running like it always does. I hope you enjoyed my walk around the neighborhood this morning. Check out our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for more daily tidbits like this. Make sure you're subscribed here too. More from our Shikoku series is on the way soon.